Then too, General Shinseki. I must say that the book I wrote, I dedicated to Shinseki. I've never met the man. He humiliated him for telling Congress what he thought. When Senator Levin said to him, how many troops do you think we'll need in Iraq? He said several 100,000. The next day, Wolfowitz came out and said that's widely off the mark. And then Rumsfeld leaked the information that, who his successor was going to be 14 months before he finished, trying to force him to leave the military. Shinseki didn't. And I would just say as a footnote, I think that Obama's decision to appoint Shinseki as head of the Veterans Affairs was a marvelous. I did a newspaper article like every week, and I saw it a home run. Why? Because one thing you know, for people who are who are veterans, Shinseki will not refuse to tell. He'll tell Obama what he thinks. He's not going to go along with the team just because he's part of it. And I think it also did a great job of putting him back in the public eye. And the bottom line is, Shinseki was right. He was right on this thing. In fact, General Abizad later made that point. Tommy Franks. I'm not all that impressed with what Tommy Franks acted, but what Rumsfeld did is he constantly beat him down on numbers. When I asked General Zinni, who was previous CENTCOM, how many troops did you need? He said, my minimum number was 385,000. And that's the first number Franks did. Franks was then beaten down by Rumsfeld consistently, telling him, no, so we got down to 140,000 troops. I'm frankly not impressed with Franks because I think he should have put his sword on the line and say, look, Mr. Secretary, this is dangerous. The whole point was, the military just operates in 4 phases, or at least it did. Preparation, starting the battle, carrying it through, and then post-combat operations. Nothing was done for post-combat operations because Feith told people, we got it all taken care of. And nothing was done, and we got there, and that's why you had the whole mess of people walking around Baghdad with not knowing what in the hell to do. Then I would also point out transformation theory. The sad part was when Rumsfeld came in, Shinseki was already working on it. Shinseki knew the Army was having problems and it had to become more flexible, lighter, move, and he had already been working on it. And so what did Rumsfeld do? Rumsfeld refused to talk to Shinseki for almost 6 months. And in the meantime, he put his own in, and the way he was going to finance it, he was going to get rid of 2 Army divisions at a time when both White and Shinseki were telling Congress they needed 2 more divisions just to carry out the tasks that they had with them. So the whole thing turned into a constant war. And finally, Colin Powell, who I think personally is one of the most important political military figures in the last 20 years, they worked very hard because for the first time in administration since I've been following civil military relations, the vice president became an actor. And so what happened constantly was Rumsfeld sided with Cheney in order to make sure that Powell was pushed to the side and basically became politically neutered. Now Gates. When Gates took over, he made it immediately clear that he wanted a strong chairman, and with Mike Mullen, he's got a strong chairman. And he's made it also clear that unlike with Dick Myers, he wanted Mullen to say what he thought. And they've gone before the president, and Gates has given his view, and Mullen has given his view, which is different. And that has had a tremendous effect throughout the military. For example, the whole thing with the Army. The Army's been in a real chaos. I remember telling General Caldwell, I said, look, my son-in-law went out and was trained. First of all, he was trained by non-special forces people. He was going out to Afghanistan to train police. Second of all, almost all of them are National Guard. And third of all, the efforts by John Nagel to try and get a patch that they would wear as advisor was turned down by the big Army because that's not what we do. That's changed. The training in the future will all be done down in Louisiana. It'll be done by special forces for people going to Afghanistan who are in that kind of a capacity. He's also now worked with the military to have the Army has 2 tasks. They have frontal combat and has counterinsurgency. Where most of the older ones wanted only frontal combat when we're still fighting the Soviet Union. Conclusion. Every president has a different leadership style. People complained about meeting with Clinton. The military complained about meeting with Clinton. It was a seminar. You walked out with no idea what in the hell was you supposed to do, what he had decided. They talked in broad terms. They loved Bush 1. Bush 1, you can maybe talk to him. He said, here, we're going to do A, B, and C. You want, okay, fine. Now I know what my orders are. They're clear, they're concise, and I can go ahead and do them. And in fact, I would point out they screwed up things too on their own. The military did. You often look only Grenada with the famous, calling the, you can't talk to a ship a mile away, so you call the Pentagon with your Visa card. Pentagon hooks you up to the ship in order to talk to them. And the thing we all know what happened to Iran, the military screwed that up. So I must just admit they can't. If my researching shows anything, and it showed it also in the case of the Russian military, that if a president wants to have a good relationship with the military, he needs to show right up front that he respects them. It is critical that with SecDef, who is appointed, is an individual who does not try to bring an alien culture into the Pentagon, but rather works with the culture that is in there, and you can get things done. But you also have to remember, after you're gone, they're still going to be there. So they can. And that's what happened with the Army when Roosevelt left. They then introduced a new Army manual with showing counterinsurgency. The civilians should be and must be in charge, but it is pretty critical that the president and the SecDef understand the nature of the military relationship, military culture, if they hope to maximize the positive aspects of the relationship.